Hello, this is Eric Thompson. I am president of Peerless Wealth. We are an SEC registered investment advisory firm headquartered in Columbus, Ohio. Thanks as always for tuning in. So the title of this, Run It By Me. 3 investment pitches, 2 failed, 1 passed. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, a lot of my clients get pitched constantly by other entities, whether it's a competitor financial advisor, whether it's their brother that wants to open a bar, whether it's a group of real estate investors that want them to fund a project. And I always tell my clients to run it by me. That's why you have me. I don't have to be managing that money or billing on it. I want to help you make a good decision. And contrary to what you might think, I don't always say it's bad just because I don't come up with the idea. As a fiduciary, I'm sort of sworn to have a very open mind about all this. But I'm going to give you 3 examples because these are things that just have come up in the last few months. So example number 1, I had a client call me and say, hey, I had dinner with this guy. He's a friend of a friend. He's another advisor, and he has an investment program that has averaged 19% a year for the last 15 years and has never had a down year. And he wants me to set up a meeting and to hear him out. And I said, that sounds great. I mean, if that's true, I want to know what that is. Maybe I can do it personally. Maybe I can partner with him and, offer it to clients. In the back of my mind, I was very skeptical because I've been around the block for a couple of decades. And those are numbers that you just don't really see with repeatability and with any sort of consistency. But I said, let's do it together. Get me on the Zoom call. And we got on the Zoom call. And the advisor was, he was set up with a firm that was registered and reputable from everything I could tell. And as he got into the pitch, it was basically his team of people that had sort of figured out when to get in and when to get out of the markets. It was a bit of a market timing type of thing based on certain indicators and charts and technical reads. They had created this track record. And as he started showing me the track record, I started reading the fine print and asking some questions. And to find out, it really wasn't an actual track record. It was called back-tested data. What is a back test? Well, it's a little bit like watching an NFL game Sunday and then watching the tape on Monday with a friend and acting like you've never seen the game before and predicting every play that's going to get called. It's not real data. So essentially what the firm was doing, this is very common, by the way, in an effort to attract capital from investors. What they were doing is they were saying, they were looking at a huge set of data over the last 15 years and said, if we follow these rules, when this indicator does this, when that indicator does that, when this indicator does this, we sell. And when these things happen, we buy. And what they do is they create hundreds of back tests. They didn't tell us this, but they create hundreds of back tests. And then they pick the one that came out the best and then sort of claim that that's what they've been using. That was a no. If it hasn't worked with real money through real markets in both up and down environments, I'm not interested in it. Otherwise, people can just make up anything, even if they call it a back test. So number 1, no. Number 2, Florida Community Bank. So have a client that lives here in Ohio, has family in Florida. His dad was very good friends with a retired executive of a community bank in Florida. And this executive, along with a bunch of other sort of seasoned banking professionals, were heading up the startup of a new community bank. And they were looking for investors. And so they were not public yet, but they had a 3 to 5 year plan of going public. And then that would cause hopefully a pretty big increase on the original investment that they would make. And I think they were asking for a minimum of $100,000 investment. My client called me. We went through it together. The bank had a very professional pitch book presentation. It was not overhyped. It was not overselling. And it was backed and run by people that have successfully run community banks. And it actually looked good to me. And I told the client, hey, this is fine. Like, I mean, you still got to be prepared for loss and don't have it be more than maybe 5% of your overall portfolio. And there's limited liquidity. You can't get your money and all of that. But at the end of the day, that was fine. And so he did that. So third example, an annuity that's too good to be true. So this is another one of my clients. In fact, they didn't call me. I got a transfer notice that they were moving their money. So I called them and I said, what's going on? And they said, this friend of ours at church has recommended this particular annuity, and it only goes up and never goes down. You get the return of the stock market, but you never get a down year. And I said, just tell me what it is, right? So I looked it up. And it was pitched like that, but in reality, you don't get the total return of the stock market. There's a cap, there's a participation rate, they can change the terms down the line. It did protect principal, but you got to tie your money up for 7 years. And honestly, if you put your money in the S&P 500 for 7 years, in about 95% of the environments, you're not going to lose money, you're going to be just fine. So a lot of times these annuities are ways to protect, sort of prey on the fear of losing money with also the upside of the market. The problem is the upside's not the total upside. They get capped, they get their returns whittled down. And we looked at it together, and I told him, I said, actually, I have an avenue to do these annuities. If you know, like, and trust me with your money, if you really want to do it, I can do it for you. But once we really sort of dissected it, it wasn't the deal that they were pitched. So that one was a no. So we have 2 no's and a yes. The no's were from a market timing approach that was back tested but not real money. The annuity that was pitched as too good to be true. The yes was a well-run community bank startup by good people. I always tell my clients, call me, let's talk it through. I love this stuff. That's what my job is as your advisor. So I hope you learned something, and we'll see you next time.